50 years ago this month, a single-hand grenade killed 6 teenagers and wounded 54 others in what became Canada's deadliest youth military training accident. The military promised changes, new protocols, better oversight. Never again, they said. But here's what they didn't tell you. According to recent Department of National Defense data, incidents involving explosive devices in military training programs have increased significantly since 2020, with dozens of documented cases in recent years. The Valcartia disaster was supposed to be a turning point. Instead, it might have been just the beginning of a pattern we're still repeating today. To understand how we got here, we need to go back to those first crucial hours after the explosion, when the promises that would define the next 5 decades were being made. The promise that started it all. Within 72 hours of the explosion that tore through the Valcartia classroom, Canadian Forces leadership was already crafting their response. Senior military officials stood before hastily assembled press conferences, their uniforms crisp despite the chaos of the previous days. The message was clear and unequivocal. This would never happen again. The military had learned its lesson, and comprehensive reforms were already underway. The promises came in rapid succession. Senior command announced the immediate implementation of mandatory double verification procedures for all explosive training materials. Every ordnance item would be inspected by 2 separate weapons technicians before being cleared for use in educational settings. Training officers would receive enhanced certification in explosive safety protocols with mandatory refresher courses every 6 months instead of the previous annual requirement. The military also pledged to establish new oversight positions dedicated to monitoring safety protocols for all cadet programs across Canada. These assurances were delivered personally to the families of the 6 dead cadets during closed-door meetings in the weeks following the tragedy. Parents were shown detailed organizational charts outlining the new command structure, complete with multiple layers of oversight and accountability. The military brass spoke of revolutionary changes to weapons storage procedures, with enhanced segregation between live and dummy ordnance. They described new color-coding systems that would make it impossible for live munitions to be mistaken for training aids. The families were told these measures represented the most comprehensive safety overhaul in Canadian military history. The timeline for implementation was presented as aggressive and non-negotiable. By September 1974, all Canadian Forces bases hosting cadet programs would have completed the installation of new ordnance storage facilities with enhanced security protocols. By November, every instructor involved in weapons training would have completed the new certification program. The military committed to having independent safety audits conducted at each base by January 1975, with results made available to the families of the victims. Yet, the official reports from this period reveal a different story. The Board of Inquiry findings, classified for decades, used euphemistic language that minimized the scope of institutional failures. The mixing of live and dummy ordnance was characterized as an inventory discrepancy rather than a catastrophic breakdown in safety protocols. The report described the incident as resulting from human error within otherwise sound operational parameters, suggesting that the system itself was fundamentally reliable despite this singular breakdown. This framing was crucial to the military's narrative strategy. Senior leadership consistently portrayed Valcartia as an aberration, a tragic confluence of unlikely circumstances that exposed a minor gap in otherwise robust safety procedures. They avoided any suggestion that the incident reflected deeper cultural problems within the military's approach to youth training. The official communications emphasized that the weapons technicians involved were experienced professionals who had simply made an unprecedented mistake, not that the entire system lacked adequate safeguards against such errors. The media played a significant role in amplifying these promises without demanding accountability measures. News reports from August and September 1974 faithfully reproduced the military's reform announcements, often using identical language from official press releases. The Ottawa Citizen ran a series of articles praising the military's swift response, with headlines like "Forces Pledge Complete Safety Overhaul" and "New Protocols Ensure Cadet Protection." Television coverage focused on the dramatic nature of the reforms rather than investigating whether previous safety procedures had been adequate or properly followed. The specific personnel changes announced during this period created an impression of comprehensive accountability. 3 weapons technicians were reassigned to non-ordnance duties, though they received no formal disciplinary action. Captain Jean-Claude Giguère, who had conducted the fatal safety lecture, was transferred to a desk position at National Defense Headquarters in Ottawa. The base commander was rotated to a new posting 6 months earlier than originally scheduled. These moves were presented as evidence that the military was taking responsibility, though none of the individuals involved faced courts-martial or criminal charges.